Hey you guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Joy, and if you're new to this channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe and bell button below if you want more content on money tips and sales. In today's video, we're going to be going over the Chase Sapphire Reserve card, and I'm going to break down if this card is actually worth it given the new changes that they have on their annual fee. At the end of this video, you'll see the math breakdown for how much I spent with the Chase Sapphire Reserve last year and whether or not this card is going to be worth it in the end. So if you want to get a better understanding of how the Chase Sapphire Reserve card works, or if you're on the fence of whether or not you should keep this card or even get the card, then go ahead and keep on watching because you'll have a better understanding by the end of this video. Okay, so let's address the big elephant in the room, which is the annual fee for this card. This card is a travel card. If you are someone who travels a lot or likes to dine out a lot, this is definitely the card for you. But if that's not something that's really your priority, then you might want to look at some other cards. But definitely keep on watching this video because it definitely helps if you watch until the end. Now, the Chase Sapphire Reserve card typically has an annual fee of $450. I know, it sounds like a lot. And as of January of this year, it has increased actually to an annual fee of $550, which to someone who's never paid an annual fee before, this probably seems like a card that you're definitely not going to want to get. But wait, before you decide that this card is not for you, keep on watching because I'm going to be going over who qualifies for this card, how you can get the card, what the benefits are, and I'm gonna go over my spending for 2019 that will break down with the points whether or not this card was worth it in the end. So let's get into who actually qualifies for this card. So you can get this card if you have a really good credit score. I would say anywhere over 700 is a really good starting point, and typically the Chase Sapphire Reserve is for someone who has already a credit line of $10,000. So it's definitely not a credit card that you're probably gonna get if you are college or if you're just starting out. But don't worry, this is definitely something that is also good information for you to know moving. Now, I actually got this card because I already had the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So the Chase Sapphire Preferred is basically like the little brother to the Chase Sapphire Reserve. With that card, you only have an annual fee of $75, and the point system is going to be less with the Preferred than with the Reserve. That's typically why you'll see a difference in the pricing over. Now, if you have a good job and it's consistent and you have a good credit score, then I would say go ahead and apply and see if you qualify, because worst thing is they just tell you no. Now, moving forward, let's talk about how you can get this card. So the first way that you can get this card is the obvious way, is you can go to the company's website and you can just apply over there. I'll put a link in the description below, and I'm also going to put the screen right over here so you can see the Chase Preferred website. And so basically you can just fill it out over there. You put in your information and you fill it out. It only takes about, I would say, a minute. It took me a minute. I did it while I was at work, and later that day I got approved. So I would do this when you're bored and you have nothing to do. The second way that you can get this card is through their referral program, which is something that I highly recommend, especially if you already know someone with this card, because I feel like it gives you credibility when you're applying for this card, and it also helps your friend out. So with the Chase Sapphire Reward Program, you will get 10,000 points for every person that you refer to the Chase Sapphire Program. So you cap out at 5 for the year. So the maximum points that you can get for referring friends to this Chase Sapphire Program is 50,000 points. That's still a really good chunk of money and travel points that you can collect for just telling your friends to sign up for this card. So how you can get the travel card, just click on the link. I have my own link below if you want to apply for this card with the refer program. And this video is not sponsored, it's not affiliated whatsoever. I just have this card. But if you do want to apply for this card, definitely use my link because I would love to get points from you for watching this video. Now, let's talk about what's actually included in your benefit. What's most known for the Chase Sapphire program is the amount of points points that you generate in the first 90 days for spending money on this card. So you will get 50,000 points if you spend $4,000 within your first 90 days of having this card. So that is equivalent to about $1,000 something for the month. Super simple. If you spend a lot on card, travel a lot, eat out a lot, you take Ubers and Lyfts a lot, then I would say definitely get this card, because that comes out to $750 in travel points. Or if you want, it's about $750 if you just withdraw it out, which is amazing. So that will definitely help pay off for the $550 in the annual fee that you have to pay. But there's more. So one thing that the Reserve has that the Preferred card does not have is you will get a $300 travel credit when you spend your first $300 in travel for the year. Now you're probably wondering what is considered travel with this card. So on the company's website, it says that travel is considered anything for flights, airlines, transportation, toll roads, rental cars. One thing that I wish I knew with points is that it doesn't consider gas as travel. So I was a little disappointed on that when I took a couple road trips and I found out that gas was not considered travel. So you get 3 points for travel and you get 3 points back for dining out and eating out, which is great. Now, the next thing that you want to look at is for every other spending that you have on this card, you get 1 point. It's a little small. I would say there's other cards out there that reward you more for things like groceries and gas. So if you are looking to expense more of those spending, then this card might not be for you. Another thing that you'll get with this card, a complimentary priority pass. So for the year, a priority pass is about $99. And what this is essentially is access to VIP lounges at airport. What you have to do is you have to download priority pass on your phone or sign up for an account and sync it with your Chase account, which is something that I didn't know. I thought I could just like go to the priority pass area and check in, but I couldn't. And priority pass is pretty amazing. I've used it when I traveled to Cambodia. I used it when I was in Taiwan and Asia, and it was really helpful, especially after a 14-hour flight. You could definitely use this. I actually showered in South Korea at Seoul when I had a layover there for 13 hours with this card, and you can actually bring a friend on with you. Sometimes you may have to pay $25 to have your friend in the VIP lounge with you, but I guess it really depends on like how cool the staff is that's working the priority pass. But I'll put a photo over here of the priority pass that I've used before. You'll get complimentary food depending on where you're traveling. It will provide you food for that area. So I had dim sum, I had like curry, I had coconut water, some alcoholic beverages, all included when I went and flew to Cambodia, which was amazing. So I would definitely get on that. Another thing that's included in the benefit is that you will get a global entry and TSA pass included onto this card. This is not something that I enrolled for. I was just honestly lazy, but after moving to New York, I actually kind of wish that I did do this because the New York airports are pretty crowded and you have to wait for a really long time at the airport just to pass through security. So if you're someone who doesn't want to wait in line, definitely enroll in global entry and TSA because it's taken care of with your Reserve. With global entry, you have access to that for the up to 5 years, and I believe with TSA, you have to renew it every year. It's one or the other. Now, another thing that's included with the benefits as of this year, this is my favorite part, is their partnership with Lyft. So effective in 2020, for every Lyft ride that you take, you will get 7 points for riding with Lyft. Now keep in mind, this is added with the travel points of 3 travel points, or 3 points for travel. So that's in total 10 points for every Lyft ride that you get. That is an insane amount. Think about it. If you take a trip that is 10, you get 100 points for traveling with Lyft. Now, the other thing that's included with this is we have a new relationship with DoorDash apparently with the Chase Sapphire partnership. So you can get up until $120 from this benefit. So what it basically includes is that for any order with DoorDash that is over $12, you will receive $0 0 delivery and service fees. And it's pretty easy to spend $12 on DoorDash or any delivery food app. So I highly recommend this if this is something that you're doing right now and you're in quarantine. I know DoorDash recently just partnered with grocery stores, so you could also use that, but I am currently using Amazon. So I'm not sure if that's something that I one thing that's also pretty famous with the Chase card, which is why I got it in the first place, is because when you travel internationally, there's no international fees that you'll accrue on this card. So for example, let's say you have a layover in Hong Kong before your final destination and you want to buy food or some goodies in the airport lounge. Unfortunately, if you use your credit card before you exchange money, you're gonna have to pay the transaction fee for using this card. So that definitely adds up, and it was kind of annoying when I didn't have this card, which is why I wanted to get this card in the first place, is because I wanted to avoid all of those transactions. You also will have a one-on-one point transfer, so you can transfer your points over to an airline or hotel that has a relationship with Chase. So one example could be you could transfer your points 100% with United Airlines, for instance. That's not something that I actually like, is because United Airlines actually killed a French bulldog when they told the stewardess to put the French bull puppy at the very top and close it. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. And also United Airlines dragged an Asian man off the airline, and I'm Asian, so I don't think that I'm gonna be flying with United Airlines through my points. I usually fly with Alaska Airlines, so I don't know if that's something that really serves me. They also do have a benefit that you will get your travel and baggage insurance with this card if you. Let's get into actually the math of whether or not this card is worth it. Okay, so let's get into the math of whether or not this card is actually worth it, and then I'm gonna give you my personal review of everything after the calculations. So one thing that's really cool about Chase is when you log into your account, if on the dashboard you select the right side that says more, you can click a section that says spending report. So when you go to spending report, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at your 2019 year-end summary for last year. So that's gonna give me all of my transactions that I had on this card from 2019, so I can see whether or not in 2020 this card's actually worth it. Now, one thing that you wanna look at, or two things that you really wanna look at with this, is one, the amount that I spent on travel. The second one is how much you spent dining out. And the third one would be your total Lyft spending for last year. So when I look over here, last year on my Chase Sapphire Reserve, I spent on total $33,291.47. Sounds like a lot. That's like basically a car. Don't know where my money went last year, but that's how much I spent. Now let's look at how much I spent for travel. So last year for travel, I spent 11.18% on travel, which came out to $3,749 and some change. I actually thought that was actually gonna be a lot more than that, but I think because I moved from San Francisco to New York, that was less because I didn't end up traveling as much as I used to, because I wanted to spend more time in my new city. The next thing that you'll see over here is how much that I spent on food and drink. So I spent 31.22% last year on food and drink, which came out to $10,468 and some change. Now given I did expense a lot of work events on this card, so that's probably why I spent that much. And the next thing that you want to do is look at Lyft. So although the Lyft partnership wasn't effective until this year, I want to see what my averages are using Lyft in the first place. Now keep in mind, I usually ride with Uber, but now knowing that this is a relationship with my card, I'm definitely going to ride with Lyft. So how you can look for your purchases with Lyft is you go down to the part where it says all categories, and you want to search right next to it where it says search, and scroll down to where it says merchant and keyword. You're gonna type in Lyft and then hit search on the spending report. It doesn't add up the sum for you, but don't worry. If you go to the right side where there's a downward arrow, you can click download account activity, and it'll give you the total amount of how much you spent with Lyft in Excel. And then you can add it all up with Excel. If you want a video on how to do sum with Excel, comment below, but I'm not going to do it in this video. Now that we have all of our spending reports for last year, what you want to do is go into and break it down. So I broke this down over in Excel, and I broke it down into 4 columns. The first column was category, then the second is total spend, third multiplier for the points, and then the fourth is the total points that I got for each category. So I have it down for Lyft, dining out, travel, and other. So I wrote down the amount that I spend for each category, then I added the multiplier. In column D, this is multiplied for column B and C. So you'll see the total amount for the points over there. If you go to cell D7, you'll see this is the total amount of points that I got for last year. So in 2019, with my Chase Sapphire Reserve, I got 64,780 points with my card. And I use the average CCP of 1.5%. So on total, I got about $971 and some change earned value from my points. Now, I want to actually see if this card's actually worth it. So what I did was I took the earned value, which is about $900 with this card. And what I did was I subtracted the annual fee for this year, which is $550. Then what I did was I added my value for the benefits that I'm going to get from this card. So for example, this year when I spend $300 on travel, I'm gonna get a credit of $300 on my account. Another thing I added on was the total for the benefit of DoorDash, which is $120. I also added in the global entry, which I averaged at about $105 for the year. And I took in my average for how much I plan on riding with Lyft based on my usage with Uber, and that's about $480, but everyone's different. And a priority pass is $99 for the year. So in total, what you'll see is that your total value is $1,525.70, and we are in the positive and not the negative. So looking at the math, I would say this card is definitely worth it. But I'm gonna get into my personal opinion about the card in the end of this video. So in my personal opinion, from my experience using this card, there's 2 things that really stood out to me that I didn't really enjoy about the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And this is biased because I've had other credit cards before the Chase Sapphire Reserve. The first one is the customer service, and the second one was I didn't feel like the flights were that great of value. So let's get into the customer service. If you have an incident with Chase, let's say you have a charge that you need refunded, it takes a really long time to see that update on your account, which really bothered me. And the second thing is, last year for July 4th, I was supposed to go to Miami, but because of a last minute change in events, I had to cancel my trip. Now, I actually bought this flight with my rewards and then paid the difference with my card. And I flew with Delta, and I bought the travel insurance, baggage insurance, all of that. They ended up not refunding me for the trip, but they gave me back my points. So that was really annoying because I ended up losing a couple $100s due to that trip. And I felt like for the type of clientele that they're dealing with, they should probably treat us a little better. So overall, I'm gonna deduct points to Chase Sapphire Reserve because of the customer service. Compared to my experience having an Amex Platinum card, I didn't feel like the service even compared. Now, the second thing is that unfortunately, when you do want to redeem your travel points to buy flights, you have to do it within the Chase portal. So you have to buy the flights that are recommended by Chase on there. Of course, you could probably find flights elsewhere, but for the most part, if you're trying to buy a flight to, I don't know, like Asia, for instance, they don't have flights on there. So I ended up having to use my card to pay for it, but I couldn't use my points to redeem to buy a flight, if that makes any sense. Another thing is that I'm pretty good at finding cheaper flights on third-party websites, and I felt like the flights that they recommended me to purchase with Chase were more expensive than what I could have found elsewhere. So what I did was I ended up using using my points to pay off my credit card for certain expenses, and it was about, I would say, like $50 a month every time I use my card. So for, I would say, like every $1,000 that I spent, I got probably like $50 that I could pay off with my card. Now that seems good, but in actuality I was spending way more on unnecessary items throughout the year because I had this card and I thought that I had a ton of money or something like that. So I didn't feel like I was saving any money and I could have been investing my money elsewhere. I felt like I was just like using it to buy random things that I didn't really need. So overall, I would say for this card, I do not think that it's actually worth it. Right now, I actually have this card frozen right now because I'm choosing not to use a credit card during this time, and only for emergency situations am I using a credit card. But yeah, I don't think that this card is something that I am going to recommend. However, if you do have a lifestyle or a job that requires you to travel a lot and expense a lot of dining out activities and trips, then I would definitely get this card. I've changed jobs since then, so I don't have a lot of expenses that I need to put onto a card and expense with my corporate job. So that's the reason why I'm actually not super interested in this, but everyone's different. So if you are in that boat, then definitely keep up with this card. If you like this video and you want to see more content similar to this, then give this video a thumbs up. It definitely helps with the YouTube algorithm as well, so definitely give it a thumbs up anyways. And comment below how much you think you spend or how much you ended up spending with your credit card below, and I'd love to hear all of your feedback. If you have any feedback too, comment below because I would love to hear that. And please hit subscribe and the bell so you're notified when new videos come out. I'll see you guys next time.